quick minute to solve this quadratic here by completing the square for number 31 on your semester exam review. So let's do a quick reminder. When we complete the square, we want to create space on each side of the equation, and we're creating that space because we want to fill it with a number. Now, to determine what that number is, we're going to take the -6 here, we'll cut it in half, and we'll divide, and then we'll square it. So -6 divided by 2 would give me -3, and then we square it to give me 9. That tells me what number should go in each of the blanks. I want you to notice that each blank got the same number. That's important. Now, after we fill the blank, then we take the left side and we factor that. We know that that would give us x minus 3 squared. And 16 plus 9 would give me 25. Now, once I've factored it, then I want to take the square root of both sides. You may be asking yourself, well, why do I want to do that? And the reason is because when we take the square root of the square, those two are going away. We're going to be left with just x minus 3. I hope you noticed that over here on the right side, I used the positive negative because I do need to have two solutions here. And we know the square root of 25 is 5. Now, let's split these into two solutions. So I get x minus 3 equals positive 5, and x minus 3 equals negative 5. These two become pretty simple equations that I can then solve. So I got x equals 8. And over here I got x equals -2. So I hope that helps you with your completing the square.
So number 32 asks us for what is the length of the hypotenuse of the right triangle. So hopefully you're remembering that good old Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, the hypotenuse is the c. That's the value that's across from the side that's across from the right angle. So that's x in this case. Then I'm going to put the other values in here. 24, 16. Okay, now use your calculator to calculate these values. If you want to use Desmos, we could definitely do that. I'm going to do 24 to the caret 2 plus 16 caret 2. See how it told me that was 832? And then I need a square root. So I'm going to do SQRT, puts that square root in there, 832, and I get a decimal, 28.84. If we want 28.8, whatever the answer choices lean themselves to be, that's what I would choose here. We've got a right triangle, so I hope you're thinking of that Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now remember, c squared is the hypotenuse. So we're going to put 183 in for c. I'll put 33 in for a and leave the b. Now, I'm going to switch over to our Desmos calculator so that we can do some of these calculations pretty simple. I'm going to type in the 183 to the second. That gave me 33,489. I'm also going to put in my 33 to the second. It gives me 1,089. So in order to find b, I'm going to have to subtract that 1,089. So I get b squared equals, and then I've got 32,400. Now, friends, Desmos will take care of this part for you too. You have to do the square root, and you do that SQRT, and you can type in your number, 32,400, and you get that b is 180. So pretty nice if I want to use that Desmos calculator. All right, I'm going to switch back our view so that we can see the practice exam a little bit better. Let's look at problem number 32. We're asked to simplify the radical expression by rationalizing the denominator. That is a mouthful that just simply means get the radical, the square root, out of the denominator. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to multiply the top and the bottom of the fraction by the square root. That's it. Now let's see what happens. Okay. I've got 8 times the square root of 26. Notice I can't multiply a number that's outside of a square root with a number that's inside of a square root. They've got to be separate. But square root of 26 times square root of 26, that's just 26. No square root anymore. Now, notice the 8 and the 26 are both outside of a square root, and they're both divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide them by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 26 divided by 2 is 13. That's it. That's my answer. Remember what I did? I needed to get the square root out of the denominator, and I did that. That's why just simply multiply by the square root, top and bottom, and you're good.
Hey friends, want to take a look at this problem. We're told that a box has volume given by 3x cubed minus 12x squared minus 135x. What are the possible dimensions of the box? And we're told to use factoring. So when we look at an expression like this and asked to use factoring, I want you to think of the GCF first. So notice that each of the terms have an x, and each of the terms are also divisible by 3. So we're going to take the 3x, which is our GCF, and we're going to put it in front of a parentheses. Now, to decide what goes in that parentheses, we're going to divide each and every term here by the 3x. So now 3x to the third divided by 3x gives me x squared. 12x to the second divided by 3x gives me 4x. 135x divided by 3x gives me 45. Now we're not quite done yet. Now we need to factor what's inside this parentheses. And you'll remember that that's going to become 2 parentheses. Each parentheses is going to get an x because of this x squared there. And then we ask ourselves what 2 numbers multiply to give me negative 45, but add to give me negative 4. Let me say that again. What 2 numbers multiply to give me negative 45, but add to give me negative 4? That's going to be negative 9 and positive 5. So my possible dimensions here are the 3 things that are being multiplied together. It could be 3x, x minus 9, and x plus 5 there.
Now, friends, this is a lot like a division problem. It is a division problem. And I didn't think I had enough room, so I'm bringing over a piece of paper so that I can have a little bit more space to work that one. Hope that's okay with you. Feel free to use that yourself if that will help you be able to solve this one. So I'm going to put the 4x plus 2 on the outside of the house. Sorry, I revert to my division as the house and outside the house. And now I'm going to ask myself, what times 4x would give me 24x squared? Well, that would be 6x. Now let's multiply. 6x times 4x is 24x squared. 6x times 2 is 12x. Now in algebra, normally we would subtract, but in algebra, it's easier to add and change all the signs. So I'm going to do that. These two will cancel. That leaves me with negative 28x, and I'm going to bring down the 18. Now we ask ourselves, what times 4x would give me negative 28x, and that would be negative 7. Now multiply. Negative 7 times 4x is negative 28x. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. And remember, in algebra, it's easier to add and change the signs. So that leaves me with 32. Now 32 is called my remainder, but I want to show you how I actually write that. So I've got my answer, call that the quotient, and then I've got my remainder on the top of a fraction, the 4x plus 2 on the bottom. Okay, now make sure you send this work along with your answer here so that you get credit for the problem. Okay. All right, one more to go. We got number 37 here.
So number 45 is wanting the simplified form of this equation here. And it's very, very similar to number 44 here. So we're going to set up our division, our house, so to speak. And it's going to be 4x minus 1 will go under the house. 2x plus 3 will go outside the house. And then we're asking ourselves, what can we multiply by 2x to get 4x? So you should get 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 3 is 6, so plus 6. Add them, but we're going to change the sign, remember? So 4x becomes negative 4x, and positive 6 becomes negative 6. So add, these will cancel out to get 0. Negative 1 minus 6 plus negative 6 is negative 7. So this is our remainder here, negative 7. And so we have this factor of 2. So we're going to take 2 minus 7 goes on the numerator. And once again, we're going to divide by 2x plus 3. So your remainder will be divided by this factor right here.